You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here's your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
I'm Ashley Winch from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Wednesday, October 9th, episode 3537. Good morning, Horse World! In today's episode, we're diving back into the archives to revisit a fascinating conversation with farrier Steve Kraus. Remember when we talked about palmar angles? If not, don't worry. We're about to break down what they are and why they're so crucial for equine health. Plus, we're catching up on a Canine Health Minute, sharing some positive equine news, and adding a dash of weird world news just for good measure. You know, it wouldn't be a Wednesday if we didn't talk about all the great things currently on sale on StatelineTack.com, one of our sponsors. Currently, it looks like there are free cosmetic bags with some Charles Owen helmets, free beanies with select Ariat boots. VitaFlex Pro is 50% off. All kinds of good stuff. We have Weaver leather halters on sale, Rambo saddle pads, because who doesn't need another saddle pad? And at 74% off, you're losing money not buying more saddle pads. So be sure to go over to StatelineTack.com to see all the great deals that they have going for us. And before we hop in the Wayback Machine, one more word from our sponsor, Daily Dose.
Non-GMO whole food nutrition is the basis of the entire Daily Dose equine program. We never forget that natural is better and simplicity is key. Daily Dose Equine uses non-GMO whole food ingredients like alfalfa, timothy, peas, sunflower seeds, and flax. Daily Dose Equine doesn't use fillers, bulking agents, or leftovers from other industries, so you can feed less yet improve body condition and energy. And our feeds are free from chemical residues and glyphosate. Find the perfect formulation for your horse at dailydoseequine.com. Select Daily Dose Equine formulations are available nationwide through Chewy.com and TractorSupply.com.
Everybody up, rise and shine, it's a new day!
It's Wednesday.
Here we go again. And away we go!
Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Today we're going to talk to farrier Steve Kraus and talk about the palmar angles, what they are, why they're important, why are they important. Plus, we're going to have the Canine Health Minute, some good horsey news, and some weird world news. So here you go. Glenn, you're back.
I'm back. Boy, I tell you what, to add to all of my other health problems this year, I got a massive sinus infection. And then had to go to the doctor for antibiotics. And you know what's scary this year? And you even wrote to me and asked, I ended up with a fever, a pretty high fever for about 2 days. And when you get a fever now, you right away think COVID. I mean, we're just so ingrained this year to think, oh, no, I have COVID. But doctor didn't think so. Said,
you know what's amazing is that it's a good thing with that fever you didn't go mattress shopping because they wouldn't have let you in. Because I went furniture shopping the other day. I went to a mattress store and then to a furniture store. And
were
the
they
mattress
checking
store,
temperatures?
they took your temperature
Really?
before you walked in.
Well,
yeah,
it is a mattress store. You're laying on crap, right?
Yeah, so I was like cool with that. And then, but they like held that thing up and then we went to the furniture store. And I said, aren't you going to take our temperature? Because it was right next door. And they were like, oh no, we have an infrared sensor when you walk in the door checking temperatures.
Really?
What? How much
At
did
the
that cost?
furniture store?
At the furniture store. I almost felt like he might have been lying.
Disney World or the airport, I could believe that. But the furniture store?
A ginormous furniture store here. And guess what? I walked in and didn't buy a thing. So.
Oh, you didn't buy a mattress or any furniture?
I bought nothing, Glenn. Nothing.
I remember us talking about your mattress when we first started this show. You had like a 25-year-old mattress and couldn't sleep, and I finally begged you to get a new mattress.
Yes, we did. And now it's time to replace it again. That's how long we've been doing this show.
Hey, speaking of which, I want to wish everybody a happy International Podcast Day, especially to all the hosts here on the Horse Radio Network, to my partner Jamie and Jennifer and everybody, and to all our fellow podcasters around the world. There are now, get this, you're sitting down, 1.4 million different podcasts.
How many podcasts
Apple.
were there before COVID?
Oh, it's going up like 300,000.
I mean, everybody's like, hey, so if it's International Podcast Day,
yes,
and I'm a podcaster, does that mean that Chad's supposed to like give me a present?
I think so. I think we should get cake at least. I
mean, seriously,
ice cream,
give
cake,
me something.
Yeah. Anyway, especially us. I mean, we've been doing this a long time. So yeah, it's they're doing 24 hours of programming with podcasters from around the world, and I'm not doing it this year. Usually I join in on that conversation, but I've declined almost everything. It's internationalpodcastday.com/live if you want to check out some other podcasters. And I know we were supposed to have a special show with a bunch of different podcasters yesterday, and I had everything lined up, and I just couldn't do it. So, we'll do one here coming up. I know you guys enjoy when I get other podcasters on occasionally. We do have a story about how far we've come in podcasting, and Jamie will remember this. She probably doesn't remember the guy's name. Do you remember Marty Bowman? Do you remember who that is?
Yeah, Marty is kind of the liaison for media with horsey news.
Yeah, he's
for horse shows.
For the horse shows, especially Rolex, right? When it was Rolex. The big Kentucky event, he's the one in charge of all the media and also giving out press credentials. Well, when we first asked for press credentials 12 years ago now, they denied us because we weren't real media.
Yeah. Now they email us going, "Are you going to come this year?"
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Marty now treats me when I go to these things with a lot of respect. I mean, you saw it. I mean, the first year we wanted to set up there and record 10 years ago at Rolex, they were like appalled that we would ask for anything. And now they're begging to set the stuff up for us. It's a whole different story in 10 years. The world has changed when it comes to podcasting. And, there's 1.4 million podcasts, but it's interesting. The really active ones, there's only about 300,000. So, and what they mean really active is produced episodes within the last 90 days. And I think a lot of the new ones that started in COVID are going to be gone. They're just come and go. So, yeah, but we haven't. We're still here. We're still fighting the battle thanks to our sponsors and our terrific listeners from around the world. The other day I said when I'm healing, I would really like whoopie pies. Remember the whole whoopie pie conversation?
Yeah, the fact that I said you're having part of your colon removed, I don't think whoopie pie is a very good idea.
It is. I'm supposed to eat all soft stuff for 2 weeks, and they're very soft. So I think that qualifies.
Especially if you microwave them. No, don't microwave them. They'll probably turn into little bricks.
They'll turn into bricks.
I don't know what a whoopie pie is, but it sounds
it's like
really
cake
terrible.
with really sweet icing in the middle. And I've had 3 listeners now offer to send me whoopie pies. So I think I'm going to be stocked with whoopie pies. So thank you to all of you. I appreciate it.
Don't do it, you guys.
So
Send him an apple.
Happy International Podcast Day. On that note, there was something posted today, and this really applies to International Podcast Day. We can't do this without our sponsors. Jamie doesn't want to work for free, and neither do I, to be honest.
I feel like I practically do, but that's not the issue today.
Although I have noticed your checks have been going up thanks to the auditors every month.
I know, I love you guys.
They're getting bigger. And it is Auditor Day, too, where your payments come out, so be prepared. But one of the listeners posted in there that she ordered something from one of our sponsors and made sure to tell the sponsor that she heard about it on our show and encouraged other auditors to do the same thing. That does help. That is one thing. If you're going to buy something from one of our sponsors, either post it in the comment section of the order, or better yet, go over and put it on their Facebook page. Put a note on their Facebook page. Hey, I just placed an order on your site today, and I want to let you know I heard about it in the Horse Radio Network. That is the most effective and free thing that you can do to help us out.
That's awesome. While you're finger keyboarding, and sending out information, I would like to admit something. And Glenn, I've been kind of going behind your back to do this, and I've been doing it for about 6 years now. And if you go on to the message part of where I've been sending this message, it's just, how like when you send a Facebook message and then a year later you send another one, you can still see your last one. And I think there's 25 unresponded to Facebook messages on Tom Burlingson's Facebook page. Okay. I have emailed his agents. I have emailed him. I have emailed his official Facebook page. I've emailed probably people that are not even connected with him for years. For those who don't know, Tom Burlingson is the star of The Man from Snowy River, Return to Snowy River, and Far Lap.
Isn't he 90 by now?
No, but the problem is he got all famous doing Australia's Got Talent. And then he's not even doing that anymore. What's he doing? Where is he? Why is he not answering my messages? I mean, I emailed his agent like a month ago. I just don't understand why. So I would like to sic the auditors on this. Find me a way to get a hold of Tom Burlingson. For God's sake, I have to talk to him. I have so many questions. And I'm sure he probably doesn't want to talk about a movie he made 30 years ago. But I don't care.
Of that movie.
I don't care. I mean, I have heard rumors like he learned to ride like on the set, and that just seems impossible, galloping down a hill like that and doing all the trick riding and the stunt riding. I just have so many questions. Tom Burlingson needs to get a hold of me or answer my messages, or at least somebody answer a message that might know him.
He's 68, by the way.
Wonderful. He's probably retired and has nothing else to do but answer my questions. For real.
And while you're at it,
by God, get on my show.
We'll add him to the list with Kaylee Kuko, who we still haven't gotten on either.
I feel like she's a little more relevant than he is. I feel like he should have more time. And no disrespect, Tom, because I'm sure he's listening. I absolutely love you. And
that's why she wants you on the show.
First ever crush. Okay. I love you. And I think that you're wonderful. And I really need to talk to you.
Well, it took us till he was 80 to get Charlie Daniels on. So maybe in another 20 years, he'll agree.
No, I can't wait that long.
So thanks for listening, everybody. And thanks for listening to all the podcasts that you do and supporting us. We really appreciate it. Now it's time for
and email sponsors and Tom. Thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What is that when spouses, they go to court and get a piece of paper that says you can't come near me? What's that called?
Restraining order.
Yeah. Have you gotten any from Tom yet?
No, nothing. I've heard nothing back. I mean, even that would be something, Glenn.
You can hang that on your wall. All right, we got My Daily Winnies, or a couple of these. Happy birthday to Casey Berger and Maggie Herlinsky. So happy birthday to both. Herlinsky?
Oh my God.
Herlinsky? Oh, Herlinsky. Yes. Thank you.
Hurling Sky. All of a sudden, you've got a native name.
I think mine's better, actually. Hurling Sky.
Hurling Sky. Or Hurlinsky. One of those.
I heard Jennifer did a good job pronouncing names on Monday.
Yeah, it's like, how are you guys married? Kasi Barger. A little part of me died this morning when I was searching for weird news, and I saw this story, and I just thought it needed to be a daily
What
Winnie.
About the debate last night?
Oh, God. Nobody gets a Winnie for that. I made it 6 minutes, okay?
Wait a minute. Can I play something for the debate last night? Because I think we all agree on this, Republican, Democrat, Independent, or whatever.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
And that goes to everybody.
I sat my son down and I'm like, we're going to watch history being made. We're going to watch this political debate that could be just, I think the American people have questions that they need answered. They did not get those answers. Enough. Moving on. Okay, so I read this headline, Evel Knievel's son sues Disney over Toy Story 4 character. How is this just now happening? But did you see Toy Story 4?
I'm sure I did. I don't remember it, but yeah.
Well, there's a guy, Keanu Reeves voices this little guy that drives a motorcycle, and his name is Duke Kaboom.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and so they are currently now suing them
because it was too much like Evel Knievel.
It's disrespect. Evel Knievel did not thrill millions around the world, break his bones, and spill his blood just so Disney could make a bunch of money. Well,
what?
I don't know how. I mean, yes, it's.
Evel Knievel has not been the only motorcycle stunt person in history either.
Exactly. This might be opening up a flood of lawsuits to Disney. But anyway, I mean,
we might get sued for being fake, like radio personalities.
I would like to contest that. I am a real radio person. Okay. Anyway, no, I don't know who should win. I just thought it was worth mentioning that Duke Kaboom is going to court.
Jeez. All right, a couple of positive news stories after last night. I think the country needs something. First, I wanted to mention the schedule starting next week. There'll be no live shows starting next Monday in October. We'll have shows for you every day, but you'll just have to look at your podcast feeds for Horses in the Morning. No live shows because of surgery and just it would be too difficult to do. So there will be shows. Just look in your podcast feeds starting next Monday. Governor Larry Hogan proclaimed October as Maryland Horse Month. Maryland's always pretty good at acknowledging horses every year. And in support of that, the Maryland Horse Industry Board will lead targeted marketing strategies to highlight statewide attractions, events, activities, trails, exhibits, and experiences. I think they do this almost every year. They're also going to be doing stuff on MarylandHorse.com, some live streaming broadcasts and education and stuff. So good on Maryland for acknowledging horses every year. Good job. And of course, there is something coming up this weekend in Maryland. Do you know what that is?
I'm not up on my Maryland to-do.
The Preakness is this weekend.
Duh.
Yeah. So it's 145th.
How could I not know that the Preakness was going to be in October? Duh. How could I have forgotten?
5:45 on Saturday, October 3rd. And it's the 145th of running. And of course, this year, of course, it's the third leg of the Triple Crown. But there'll be no Triple Crown winner because, Tis the Law won Belmont and Authentic won the Kentucky Derby. And Authentic, it will be running, though, in this race this weekend. So
Tis the Law is waiting for the Breeders' Cup, by the way.
Yes, which is only a couple weeks later, I think.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
13 horses have won the Triple Crown, but 11 horses have won the Kentucky Derby and then the Preakness when it was done in normal order, and then lost in the Triple Crown. It seems like it'd be more than 11. It seems like every year we'd go the first two, and then we'd wait for the Triple Crown, and they'd lose. But so this is a little different year. I don't know if they're having fans or not. I didn't read that this weekend. Also, one good thing happened in Congress. Yes, something good happened there. Paul Tanko's, who we've had on the show before, his bill for the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act actually passed the House of Representatives yesterday. Now it heads over to the Senate, and there's somebody behind it that's very important, and that's Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. So he's actually in favor of it, bipartisan support over there. So we might actually see, and what this is going to do is set up a regulatory system for all racing in the United States. Right now we have 38 separate jurisdictions, mostly by state. And this will put them all under for anti-doping, and it'll put the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, the same people who are in charge of other sports, and the Olympics will be in charge of anti-doping control and everything for racing, as well as other things. They talked about whip regulation and all of that. So this is a positive thing. Maybe we'll see it go through this year. I don't know, but at least it went through one step. Also, another bit.
Let me back up because I have some information. You are incorrect about the 11 horses have won the Derby and the Preakness, but lost at Belmont. It's actually 23. 11 horses have won the Derby and the Belmont. So you were close, but it did seem like a low number. So 23 horses have won the Derby and Preakness, and then failed.
Yeah, because it seemed like every year we were. We were waiting for the Belmont to come, and we were always disappointed. Good. Thanks for that correction. Appreciate it.
I love to correct you.
I know you do. That's something that hasn't changed in 10 years. The other thing is, remember the horse that the Dreadhead Cowboy was riding down the Dan Ryan Expressway in Chicago when he got arrested, causing all the
galloping a horse down, the freeway.
And we thought they were going to have to put the horse down. Well, apparently it is recovering now, and it looks like it might make it. So
good.
That's a bit of good news. Thank God for that. So that's my stories of good news for today. And you, there was a video you posted on your. Tell everybody what the page is again.
Flyover Farm, Jamie Jennings, certified Monty Roberts instructor.
You had a video. You had a picture of a horse that was rearing up on you, and then you had a video of you riding it, which is not uncommon. I mean, that's pretty much every horse you get in. But this one especially, what was its name again?
His name is Malachi. He's a 14-hand quarter horse, and he came to me to be started from his owners who got him when he was 6 months old. And Malachi had no idea what the word no meant, or do this, or please do this, or come forward, or a horse that you would pick up the rope and try to pull him forward, and his response was to rear. And his response has been kind of to rear to everything he hasn't wanted to do. And so he's been here for 3 weeks, and I started him. I finally sat on him about 10 days ago, and yesterday we were trotting around the arena. So
I know.
Really
I saw that. It was, And by the way, you don't look too big on him. He looks
it turns out I appropriately fit a 14-hand horse. And Abby, I really love a good saddle horse gelding to help you start a horse.
Well, I was gonna mention that you did have you had a companion horse in the ring with you. Have you tried him without the companion horse at this point?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Okay. I don't want to die. So the way that it worked is a couple days ago we put Duke in the round pen with him, and because the thing is, like, a horse that likes to say no like that doesn't want, when you get on them, he doesn't want to move. He's a very into pressure horse. When he feels pressure, he just stops or pops straight up. So one of the things I was like, you put a nice, good, steady saddle horse, which is the Duke, and it doesn't matter. He can be chewing on his tail. Duke does not care. He just goes about his job. And so we started trying to get him to follow another horse so he would move, because otherwise Abby was having to lead me around on him, which he leads now, but he didn't understand what leg pressure meant. So I've worked really hard teaching him the voice commands. That means go. And then you get on him, but he still would, when you add leg, he would just kind of shut down. So it's a really big deal to be able to get him to trot around the arena. I mean, just from I haven't posted all the struggles with just trying to get him to move off pressure. But it has been. And so yesterday I was really, really proud to have him trotting around the arena, and is now starting to understand what gives pressure means. I've done it on his side. I would go to push on his side and he would just lean into me as hard as possible. So now I can push on his side and he moves away and gives to pressure there. So then we transpose that onto his back and put the leg on, just like inner calf, not like kicking him with my heels. And he would slowly start to move forward with the. So to get him trotting around was awesome. So we'll do that for another day or two, and then hopefully I'll just be able to take him out there and he'll start to understand it. The thing with these horses is just, and all horses that are being started, is you just do it as incremental as possible. So it was leading me around on him and then following Duke. And at some point he would stop and she would clip on the halter that he wears under his bridle, and she would lead me and then unclip, and we'd keep going. And then we moved to the arena, and then we moved to unclipping, and then we moved to trotting. And anyway, it's just been like one little stair step.
So it's building confidence and trust. I mean, basically.
That's it. That's the magic part. You can't if you introduce pain into training, you are going to lose. So by figuring out, I feel like if he would have gone to a cowboy who was like, just get on him and kick him, it would have ended poorly. Especially with this idea of that rearing was the way to get out of things. And
that's effective for that is an effective way to get out of things. If you're somebody who is not real trained, that'd be effective.
Yeah, you're gonna get somebody who's gonna get hurt. So we've just gone really slow with them. Although slow is fast and fast is slow. Sure, I could have put a whip on him and got him to move forward on day one, but I wouldn't have had a willing horse moving forward like he did yesterday. So I'm really pleased with how far he's come in such a short time. Again, I do slow things every day, but it exponentially gets better every day too. Now, the other horse that I have in training is he's a challenge because he is a horse that has really big ankles. He's got osselets, and we're going to cover that in an episode coming up. But it's racetrack jewelry, they call it. And it's not affecting his joints at all, but he has really big fetlocks. And again, not affecting the joint. But his problem is he's been at the rescue for over a year. Because the people see him and they look at his ankles and they're like, oh, never mind. And they move past it. So Nelda from Horse and Hounds just really wants him to have a good home. She's like, it's time for him to have a home. So she sent him to me for training. And oh my gosh, he is such a dream on the ground. His ground manners are impeccable. And then you put that saddle on and he starts to poop. And then you walk him out to the rump and he's like, oh God. And then you get on him and he just chomps at the bit, jump. And he's just he's just so tense. And so I just feel so bad for him.
It hurts or?
I don't think he hurts. I think he's just, he's very sensitive. Yeah. And I think he thinks he's got a race and he just there's just so many. I've started treating him for ulcers. We have Mariel sent over a bunch of omeprazole and GastroGuard for all these horses, which is awesome. So he's on that. And I just think lowering his anxiety. So my rides on him, I'll ride him twice a day and I'll tack him up, get on him, walk him around the arena and get off and do it again later. Get on. And so I'm hoping that by doing the 2-a-days like that, it'll really start to make him understand, when he gets back in the stall,
that wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Why am I so worried about it? And one of these days I'm going to bring him out. He's not going to poop on the way out to the arena. And he's just going to be okay, calm, but it's a work in progress. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'll be so excited that day that he goes out there and just walks. Okay, no big deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, this morning woke up and for the first time here in Florida, we went under 60 degrees.
Oh,
we hit the 50s. It was so nice out this morning after having the heat for all this time. 6 months worth of heat. And it was so nice. But that also means that you up north are going to get really cold really quick. And you're going to need some blankets. Head on over to statelinetack.com right now. They have 9 pages of blanket deals, anywhere from waterproof sheets to medium turnouts to heavy turnouts for all of our Canadian listeners and those that live up in the northern parts. And they have a lot of them on sale right now. I think they have some of last year's models. I'm looking at an Amigo here turnout sheet that they have marked down from $144 to $72. Now, I'm sure they're going to be limited sizes on some of these other sales, but most of this stuff, and it's Rhinos and Amigos, and Weatherbeeta and all these different blankets. Most of them are 10%, 40%, 21% off. You're going to need them. You might as well head on over right now to buy them. And if your blanket's to the point where if you wash it one more time, it's just going to come out in pieces from the washing machine, maybe head on over to State Line Tack right now. They still have their 30% off deal too. I don't know if that applies to, I assume it does. Let's give it a try anyway. So, is
there a coupon code HRN for State Line Tack?
No, I think it'd be a better deal to use the one they have on the website.
Oh, yeah, good point.
So you don't need to do that, but then tell them that you heard about it from us. But they have everything in here. They have literally 9 pages of deals. Rambo's, Rhinos, Kensington, all the different blanket brands. You're going to find them all there right now at State Line Tack, waiting for you to buy them to get ready for the winter. Yes, it's coming. Today's Horse Health Report is brought to you by the Horse Nutrition Podcast on the Horse Radio Network. The Horse Nutrition Podcast covers topics you will all love. It highlights the world's most extraordinary horses, how they're trained, and what kind of nutrition they're given. A part of Purina's Full Rein documentary series. Go to purinamills.com/fullrein to see them all. The latest episode is about vaulting horses, and it is an award winner. It won the Best Podcast Award last year, hosted by Lisa Wysocki. And I know you talked about this on Monday, but I wasn't here. and I also got a sneak preview of what's in the book coming up, Lisa's new book, Cat and Right book, and we are in it. It's like a big commercial for Horses in the Morning, and you. It's for both.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
You are a major part in this book.
But I would like to point out that Zeus has a very large part in it.
He does. So I was surprised. Yeah.
I don't care about me. I love my horse being immortalized in a book, my naughty Mustang. So it's fantastic. So.
But also, you come off as, I think we're allowed to say this, you come off as a badass in this book.
I said this on the show. I'm pretty sure that I kicked some guy in the nuts. So I'm thrilled. And I just really like the writing. Like it was like really quick dialogue, and it just was really, really good, because we read the first book, Cat Enright book, on the show, and when you do the first of something, you're having to kind of explain everything a little slower. This book was so quick and like moving, and I haven't read all of it.
Do we know exact date?
Well, why don't you book Lisa to come on and talk about it?
I'll have to. Definitely when it comes out, we'll have her on, but we're going to have to. Yeah. But I was, it is also a big commercial for us. So thank you, Lisa. We love you. Thank you for that. All right, let's get to our guest, of course, farrier Steve Kraus of Cornell University. Steve's been on the show many, many times before, and to be honest, you guys, I have no idea what we're talking. This is beyond me. I don't know what Palmer angles are. It sounds like something I flunked in high school.
In shop class?
Yeah, or math class, trigonometry, or one of those, geometry. You know what these are?
Palmer angles? You cut out for just a second.
Do you know what these are, Palmer angles? I have no idea.
Well, yes, I do. But
hello.
There he is.
Hey, Steve, how are you? You're on with Glenn and Jamie and Horses in the Morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, Glenn is over here telling me he doesn't know what we're talking about today.
I have no idea what this is.
So let's explain it to everybody. We're going to talk about Palmer angles. What is a Palmer angle?
Okay. So the simple version is if we look at the side view of the horse standing alongside him, and if we're looking at the front limb, we're referring to the Palmer angle. And if we're looking at the hind limb, we're referring to the plantar angle. So we'll start with the front limb. Okay. And as we look at the horse, or if we look at a radiograph of the horse of standing of the lower limb, we can see the coffin bone on a radiograph, and the line from the bottom of the coffin bone to the ground is the Palmer angle. Whereas the line that goes from the coronary band down the front of the hoof to the ground would be your dorsal angle or your hoof angle. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So it's actually more important to the horse on what the Palmer angle is. And when you think of Palmer, think of your palm going face down to the ground. Mm-hmm. And so your palm of your hand, the line between your hand and the ground, can either be parallel, you can raise it up to a positive angle, or you can lower it backwards to a negative angle. So that's another way to visualize it.
So why is the Palmer angle important?
Okay, so that gives us a true understanding, especially if we have an X-ray, and farriers have to develop X-ray eyes if they don't have quick access to a radiograph machine. But if you see a lot of radiographs of the side view, the lateral view of the horse, you develop a little sense of horses that have what their Palmer angle is, as opposed to it's very easy to determine what the hoof angle is, because you could see, whether the horse is upright or low heel, long toe horse. You can put a hoof gauge on the front and get somewhat of a reading there, and that could be important for shoeing standardbred horses and so on. But the Palmer angle actually tells us what the orientation of the coffin bone is, and that has more of a direct link to upcoming soundness problems and things you can do to help that.
So can you see, just by being a layman on the side of the horse, can I walk to the side of my horse and be like, you know what? he does not have a good palmar angle. Like, how could I see that from just being next to my horse?
That's really hard. You have to see a lot of horses and a lot of lateral radiographs. But if a horse has that very upright foot, let's say, it's likely, like if you were to measure the front of the foot with a hoof gauge, and a horse that's very upright is above 55 degrees on that angle and probably approaching 60, like what we call a club foot. Most of those horses will have a very steep palmar angle also, which is probably above 6 degrees from flat. So 6 to 10 degrees on that bottom hoof angle. That would correspond if the coffin bone was parallel to the front wall of the foot. Whereas a horse with a very long toe, low heel probably has a flat or negative palmar angle. He's actually crushing backwards. So those horses lose a lot of digital cushion, which is very important to the soundness of the horse and how the hoof is nourished and so on. So, usually so that's the two extremes that you can probably easily see.
So
right
we've got it. I was going to say we got a club foot, which
range, it's harder to see.
So a club foot we would see because they're kind of like the angle is broken a little forward, and then a long toe, low heel, the horse would be a little bit broke back in that angle and putting a little too much stress on its heel. Both of those are fairly common, especially I deal with a lot of off the track thoroughbreds. What are some of the ways to fix that? Because it can't be healthy for what's inside the hoof.
Correct. Yeah. As you get away from normal, palmar angle would be anywhere from 3 to 6 degrees on that bottom hoof angle to the ground. Anything lower than, say, 3 degrees, we call a low palmar angle, or a flat palmar angle is parallel to the ground, and a negative palmar angle, which is actually falling, drooping backwards. Whereas if anything above like 6 degrees is considered a high palmar angle. So what we can do, and there's various ways, and they're different for, different, which extreme you're on here. With a low palmar angle, which is, I think, one of the biggest problems that you see, you can do some type of frog support to help kind of boost that. Depending upon, again, every one of them is different, some type of properly placed heel wedge can help. But again, properly placed. If you don't place these correctly, you actually create more of a problem. And often the shoes are too short when they do this. And now you've created a fulcrum that the horse is actually falling backwards on even further, making that palmar angle that you think you're boosting up, you're actually making it worse because the fulcrum is too far ahead of the downward force of the leg. So it's kind of tricky. You really have to pay attention to what's going on before you start putting wedges on these horses. But some type of frog support, certainly shortening the toe, whether it be by trimming and using shoe modifications like a rolled toe, all is ways we work on this.
So what about the horse with the club foot? I mean, I'm sure that a pretty picture would be to just whack up that heel, but that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Well, you can do that. And that's, again, a lot of confusion on this. You can take that heel off because when you have these excessively high heeled club feet, that heel is not going straight down. It's migrating forward. Uh-huh. And so, again, you've got a fulcrum that's in the wrong place underneath the leg. And so if you trim all the excess heel off, and again, there's guidelines to do that with that, only a professional should be doing, then you have moved that base of support back under the leg. And that's where you can put a wedge also because now you have a lot of tension on the deep flexor tendon. Mm-hmm. So you remove the excess heel and then you replace it with a wedge. And that sounds, well, why would we do that? But it's where the base of support is that's important, not the fact that we have a wedge on or not. If the base of the support is further back and supporting the leg, there's too much tension on the deflexor without the wedge pad. And so in some of these horses, if you do this over time, you can grow a better hoof on that foot and it won't be as extreme. It may be somewhat more normal over time. So that's why you don't want to, you take the high-low horse that usually has a negative palmar angle on one foot and a steep palmar angle on the other. You don't want to make these feet match.
Mm-hmm.
You want to work on each one of them separately.
Now, this sounds like something that a guy advertising his farrier services on Facebook, may not know. Like, is this common farrier knowledge, or does this require a more extensive education?
Oh, definitely more extensive education. And I just went in a nutshell what we may do, but what we actually do is more complicated.
Right.
And there's a few other versions of it, and it takes a little experience to, do it in a way that's helpful for the horse.
So how can I make sure that I'm finding a good, properly trained farrier that would say I have a club foot or it's something? How can I make sure that the person I have knows what they're doing?
Well, the simple method is word of mouth. Satisfied clients that have used this individual and have had problems dealt with. Usually, testimonial type stuff is always probably the best way of finding people, who we can give references to. I've worked on this kind of horse successfully. And then I'm a member of the American Farriers Association as well as the American Association of Professional Farriers. And they both are very, very big on this type of continuing education. So anybody who has put themselves into this category has spent some time learning about what they're doing more than just nailing a shoe on. So that's quite often a very good reference right there, that if you have someone who's a member of these associations.
Awesome. Fantastic. So again, that's AFA and AFPA, I think is what you said.
The
so
AAPF.
AAPF. Sorry.
Both have very good websites.
Fantastic. Well, again, Steve, as always, thank you for coming on, and thanks for coming on such short notice and delivering this speech. I think it's so important. I mean, this is the foundation of what our horses are based on, no hoof, no horse. So these angles are very important. Glenn, are you starting to understand a little bit about what we're talking about, or were you not paying attention?
Pictures, Steve. I need you to show me pictures.
Yeah, pictures. As I was asked to do this, I was wishing I could have a chalkboard,
a slideshow,
draw some of this for you. And but I think people, in closing, I think people are too hung up on the hoof angles, and don't understand the palmar angles, which they should actually be worried a lot more about than what the front hoof angle is. And we see a lot of people wanting to make sure you put a hoof gauge on and make sure they're the same, and what's his angles and all that. And a lot of that stuff really doesn't mean that much compared to what the palmar angles are and the orientation of the coffin bone.
So if you want to see your farrier sweat, ask him about the palmar angles of your horse the next time they're there and see what the reaction is.
And if they don't sweat, then you got a good one.
That's
perfect.
Right.
Well, they understand, they're thinking of that rather than just the outside of the foot.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a really educational Facebook page. Cornell Farrier Program has a Facebook page. Go search for that. And Steve is always on there posting and doing some really kind of interesting cases and amazing things. So it's Steve Kraus, Certified Journeyman Farrier at the Cornell University College of Veterinary Medicine, the Farrier Program instructor. Thank you so much, Steve. And we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Anytime. Just let me know.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Thanks.
All right, guys. See ya.
Bye. And he is great. He does mean anytime. He's been coming on our show for years. And I mean, I think what you said, Jen called him last night.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Our other vet didn't show up. So we had to do last minute. He always is good about that. And talk about a topic. I don't think we've ever talked about palmar angles before.
No.
This health segment was brought to you by the Horse Nutrition Podcast and the Horse Radio Network, now in their third season. Each show highlights some of the world's most extraordinary horses, how they're trained, and what kind of nutrition they're given to help fuel their performances. Episodes this year include Training Hollywood Movie Horses, therapy, horses helping veterans, and an inside look at traditional Charro horsemanship. It's all part of Purina's Full Rein documentary series. Go to purinamills.com/fullrein to see all the films, interviews, and podcasts. And it just figures, that an International Podcast Day, in addition to everything else, I'm losing my voice. So that's just perfect.
Let's do some weird news then. I'll talk.
All right, you do the talking. Oh, wait a minute. We got to get the weird news.
You got to play it again because that sounded like the debate was starting again. It made me give me a little anxiety. Do it again.
Hold on. Let me get a different one because that did sound like debate, didn't it?
And
Give
now
everybody
Megan
flashbacks.
To the stage. God. Thank you. That is much better. Well, hey.
And if you don't live in the United States and have no idea what we're talking about, God bless you. You're the lucky one.
You're so everybody knows, Glenn, because people all over the world can't believe that this is what we're having to deal with. The Carleton Athletics and Ickley Town on Saturday were having it's called a football game, which of course is soccer, I believe. They called it a pitch match. And the game had to be halted because while the two teams were on the field, an alpaca came galloping across the field.
You wanted to play too?
And it wanted to play. It invaded the match, and they had to pause it. It's gone completely viral from this town. And so the Claire Armstrong, Ickley's officer and wife of the first team coach, filmed the invasion on her phone, and they posted it, and it's gone completely viral. She was on the phone with somebody, and she's like talking, and hold on, I gotta put the phone down. There's an alpaca on the field. Started filming. So just super
Did the alpaca
fun.
win?
Despite the delay, Ickley actually won 2-0.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
I knew that you would ask. All right. Well, we got to go to Florida. Glenn, do you know where Opelika is?
Yeah, I think I do. And I don't think it's too far from here, actually.
It says northeast of Miami.
It's down more where Jemmy lives. That's right.
Yeah, voted 4-1 to repeal the original 2007 legislation and 2013 ordinance that said men and women could receive civil citations if they breached the ban. And the ban is nobody's allowed to have saggy pants. Your pants must be fit snugly around your waist. And Vice Mayor Chris Davis, who sponsored the repeal, said, I was never in support of it, even as a resident. They had signs, Glenn, around the town that showed two young men walking away with their pants low, which, let's be honest, looks incredibly uncomfortable and awkward.
I don't know how you walk.
Whatever. I don't know either. But funny. The sign was two boys walking away, and it says, no ifs, ands, or buts, BTTS. It's
That's pretty
city
good,
law.
though. I want to copy that sign in my office.
Oh, my gosh. It's fantastic. Well, it just seems a little bit race-driven, and they've now that was my opinion. That wasn't in the article. But they've now lifted the ban on saggy pants. So everybody in Opelika, put your pants around your knees and go walk around. Don't trip.
Now, by the way, I also want to add to that, if you're going to commit a crime, I've watched enough Cops episodes now in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. If you're going to commit a crime, the saggy pants option for running away is not the best.
Yeah, no. You're gonna get caught.
Yeah, maybe have regular pants if you're going to commit a crime. Just saying.
All right. Do you want to stay in Florida?
Oh, jeez. Do we have to?
I'm trying to figure out where in Longwood. Do you know where Longwood is in Florida? I don't know.
No.
But apparently there's a weight-conscious three-legged bear. It's walking around because the home security camera footage captured was of a three-legged bear walked into somebody's open garage, and guess what it took? Of all the things it could have taken in the garage,
Weight Watchers frozen meals.
A 2-liter bottle of Diet Coke.
It's gonna
be really disappointing when it bites through that and it shoots up in its face and it's like, this isn't sugar.
Or maybe he really likes Diet Coke.
Yeah, it could be. All right, shove us ashore and move on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to give you a choice here. Do you want to hear about diamonds or snakes?
Diamonds, thank you. You know how I love snakes.
Oh man. In Little Rock, Arkansas, there is a park where you can go you search for diamonds, like hey, come on, $5, we'll give you a little equipment. But apparently this guy comes to this state park all the time looking for a diamond. He's been going there since he was a kid, but he's never actually found a diamond.
Nobody ever finds diamonds.
No. Until now, he found what looked like a piece of glass. He picked it up, put it in his bag. He discovered a 9-carat diamond.
No kidding.
So apparently you mine for diamonds.
So it took 50 years for somebody to find a diamond.
And then they go up to there's the park's Diamond Discovery Center where workers will identify your findings and register.
Yeah, and you pay
$200
and they'll put it in the ring for you usually too. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but for real, they actually, people do find diamonds, but nothing big. And this looks like a big rock. I don't understand how somebody was like, that could be a diamond. He said he wasn't even going to go, but his girlfriend went and was going to have hers checked. So he's like, I'll just have mine checked as well. And finding his success, they informed him that he had found a 9-carat diamond. He said he started crying. Oh, I won't tell you about the story about the woman that finds a venomous snake in her glove compartment.
No, let's not talk about that.
We'll move past that.
We did for our 20th anniversary. Jennifer and I went to the mountains of North Carolina in what looked like a place we were going to be murdered. And we went gem hunting, and she found a gem, and it's the one she still wears around her neck today. So there. Yeah.
Well, is it it's
about the size of a quarter of your fingernail, maybe.
Oh God.
I don't even know what kind it is, but we had it, and we spent the $200 to have it polished and mounted in the thing. Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Probably would have cost me $49 at Walmart to buy the same one. But it's the adventure.
It is. It's all about this hunt. Well, here is actually, thanks, Kayla, for posting this. I actually had seen it in several places because it's just fantastic. Do you know what an African gray is, Glenn? The parrot?
It looks like a parrot, only it's gray.
Very good.
Thank you.
We'll go with that. So you don't know. African gray is a parrot, and they talk. They're very good at talking. They're very vocal. I would go to the zoo when Lucas was a baby. We had a World Wildlife Zoo really close, and I would just push the cart, and I would go into the parrot area, and I was constantly trying to teach them how to do. I was like, how cool would it be if people walked in, all of them started whistling, you'd be totally freaked out. But anyway, I never got that done. However, a lot of times these birds outlive their owners and people will donate them to a zoo. 5 African
Or they
gray
found out
parrots,
they're really noisy and they donate to a zoo.
Yeah, exactly. A British wildlife park has had to remove 5 African gray parrots from public view because one of them taught all the rest of them how to swear.
They get charged extra for that.
Literally, one person said that Steve Nichols is the park CEO, and he says, I get called a fat F every time I walk past. He says, for the last 25 years, we've always taken in parrots that sometimes have had a bit of blue language, and we've gotten used to it. Every now and then you'll get one that swears, and it's always funny, and we find it comical. However, they took in 5 of the same week. They were all quarantined together, and it was just a room full of swearing birds. And he said it usually makes you laugh, but it started to get a little. He said it sounded like an old working men's club scenario where they're just all swearing and laughing.
Or like the debate last night. So
yeah, exactly. He said the problem is that if they teach the others the bad language, he ends up with 250 swearing birds, and he's like, we're going to have to shut down.
I think they're always looking a way to make money. They should have a separate room. They charge adults only 18 and over. You can pay $25 and go in and hang out for an hour. They would sell out.
That is genius.
Well, they're always looking for a way to make money. They would sell out. They would have to have tickets, and it would be sold out for months.
Get cussed out by a bird. I mean, I imagine walking up and be like, hey,
I wanted to cut you off because I saw you going there. Is that all the weird news?
That's the weird
That's
news
it.
against it. But let me tell you about the girl in Australia who like opened her glove compartment
No,
and there was
that's
a
okay.
venomous
That's fine.
snake in there.
And now it's time for Dr. Busby's Dog Health Update.
Hi, this is Dr. Julie Busby with your Dog Health Minute. Hi, this is Dr. Julie Busby, and welcome to this week's Dog Health Minute. One of the concerns that I frequently hear from owners of senior dogs is that their dogs are panting or restless or pacing, especially at night. I just saw a 15-year-old beagle this morning for acupuncture, and that was one of the owner's main concerns, and I knew exactly where she was headed with the story when she started out with this sentence. So she's acting weird, and it's mainly at night. This behavior is not only a concern from the standpoint of the dog's health and well-being, but it's also really frustrating for the people involved because it's difficult to watch our pets struggle, and it's also difficult when we can't get our regular sleep because our dogs are up in the middle of the night. So let's cover 7 reasons why this might happen and what you can do about them. Spoiler alert, the answer is really talk to your veterinarian. All right, number 1 is obvious. It's respiratory disease. If your dog is panting, it may be that there's a genuine problem in the respiratory tract, and there's really a host of issues that can cause this, but the one that comes to mind, especially for senior dogs, is called laryngeal paralysis. It's actually very similar to laryngeal hemiplegia, which can occur in horses. In both cases, there is a neurologic abnormality affecting the opening and closing in the airway, and the air doesn't move in properly, particularly on that inspiration, that breathing in. So we call a horse that has this problem a roarer. We don't use that term in dogs, but they have this noisier breathing, especially when they're hot or there's an increased humidity. They try to pant to cool off, and they just can't move the air effectively. So that is one reason that a dog might pant or be restless and struggle. Number 2 is heart disease. The heart and lungs are intimately connected. Anything from heartworm disease to congestive heart failure can manifest with respiratory issues, certainly panting and restlessness. And the first thing I did in my beagle patient today was grab my stethoscope and listen to her heart. Number 3, anxiety and fear. Just like in people, increased anxiety can cause behavioral changes like people may not pace, but pacing, restlessness, just some sort of change in behavior. And I think about dogs with noise phobias on the 4th of July. Those poor dogs are all panting and restless and stressed unless they're, hiding somewhere under a bed. So that's another issue that can cause panting and restlessness is anxiety. Number 4, a condition called CCD. This is canine cognitive dysfunction. It refers to this gradual onset of dementia-like signs that we see in senior dogs. And one estimate is that 68% of dogs have this condition by the age of 16. So that's a lot of dogs. It's very common, and the symptoms tend to be more prevalent at night, like a sundowner syndrome in people. And this is the classic presentation, this panting, pacing, restlessness at night. And there is a lot we can do for these dogs, ranging from a special prescription diet to medications and supplements. So like all of these points, please talk to your veterinarian. Number 5, anemia. If a dog or any animal for that matter doesn't have enough red blood cells circulating in their system, they're going to have difficulty in the respiratory tract because the red blood cells are what bind and carry the oxygen molecules to the cells. And so it's going to manifest with a respiratory component as the body tries to bring in more oxygen. So one way we can check for anemia is just a simple at-home check is to look at gum color and check CRT, capillary refill time. And this is a really good thing to know in your dog and your horse how to do this. On our website, toegrips.com, that's TOEGRIPS.com, we have lots of blogs that talk about all of these specific points in greater detail, but we have one on vital signs specifically that walks through how to check these and a nice little infographic on what normals are for the dog. Number 6, Cushing's disease. Symptoms of Cushing's disease, which is prevalent, I'd say, in middle-aged older dogs, are panting, sometimes drinking more, urinating more, restlessness, a pot belly. So if this is diagnosed, and it's easy to diagnose, well, I won't say easy, it can be definitively diagnosed with blood work. It can be treated. There's medications, and we've made great strides in treatment over the past couple decades. But again, really classic for restlessness and panting in senior dogs. So if your dog has those symptoms and maybe tends to have elevated liver values on blood work, that's another hallmark. Talk to your vet about Cushing's disease. And last, we have acute or chronic pain. Dogs and animals who are in pain are often restless, and they often just don't settle down. And it's our job as their advocates, their voice, to perceive this, to be observant, notice when this might be related to pain, the restlessness, and get them the help that they need. And that's it for today. I hope these 7 tips were helpful. These are all reasons why your dog may be panting or restless. Again, much greater detail on all these topics on our blog at toegrips.com. I'll see you next time for the Dog Health Minute.
And if your senior dog has mobility issues, don't forget that if you go to drbusby.com, you can save 10% on Encore Mobility with the promo code HRN, so that you can have more good days than bad days with your dog. We should just buy you a case of that because you always end up with senior dogs.
I do have a pile of them at this point.
You do.
My poor little Jack Russell. He's a shorty Jack. His name is Tank. He's a very small Jack Russell, and he's just like you. If you are more than 20 feet away, you can go Tank, Tank, and you just see him look to the right, look to the left, look. Wait, where are you? He just literally can't see you. But if you're also more than 40 feet away, he can't hear you. So bless his little heart. I always feel. Chad's like, why won't he come when I call him? I'm like, because you're too far away and he doesn't know where you are and he can't hear you.
So I have to ask you, when we first started this, going back to being International Podcast Day, I'm seeing a whole bunch of posts from my podcasting friends. When we first started this, had you listened to any podcasts at all?
No. I did not ever listen to a podcast.
Okay, so that's interesting. And a lot of podcasts, Reese had not either. She had listened to maybe one of our shows, the WEG show, I think, that Samantha and I did back in 2009. And she hosts the Dressage show for like 4 years before she ever started listening to podcasts. And now she's an avid podcast listener. So so let's talk a little bit about that. I just pulled up my podcast player on my phone, and I'm looking through to see if I'm going to pick my top 3 favorite podcasts right now. So I want you to do the same thing. Sorry, guys, my voice is just hanging in there.
Okay.
I have Bob and Sherry still. What this show was designed after, their show, their national syndicated show. You're the Sherry, and I'm not the Bob. So I still listen to them every day. So that's probably my number 1. David Tennant's podcast, I would put number 2 right now. And then I've really gotten into Mark Murphy, who's from the Food Network, has one called Food 360, where he interviews professionals in the food world and restaurants and stuff. And it's more on the business side of restaurants. And because I started out in a restaurant in my working life, I just find that one fascinating. And then I still listen to Mighty Blue on the Appalachian Trail every week too. So, all right, what are yours?
Okay, so the one I listen to every day. It's a talk show in Atlanta, but it's made into a podcast. So I worked with a lot of the people on it, so I know some of them. And it's called the Von Haessler Doctrine. It's Eric Von Haessler, and he was a DJ when I was a DJ, and now he's a talk show host. And it's very like he's a libertarian. He says that he doesn't care how you vote. But there's a girl on it who does voices, and she's so funny. And I just figured that I just am going to steal from her. I still listen to, all the time. If you're stealing from me, you're stealing twice.
Isn't that
really
true of most things in the world nowadays?
Oh yeah, totally. Own it. But the way I heard it with Mike Rowe, I listen to every week. Yeah. I tried to get into The Office Ladies. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, but I never watched The Office, and I do know what the show is. It's pretty popular, actually.
It's really good. I had to restart at the beginning, and I need to skip past to a couple seasons later because they're still like in the oh my god totally like phase where they're still kind of figuring out how to do a podcast.
Well, years ago, it started, and he's a friend of mine. It started with the Blacklist podcast, was one of the first podcasts about a TV show while the TV show was new and running. So every week they would do the episode and talk about the last episode that was on. And now it's become a thing. The newest thing in podcasting is to do a podcast about a show that's ended and you're starting over.
Well, it's
watching
the
all the
Office
episodes.
ladies. It's Pam and Angela. They actually have real names, and they are sitting around talking about each episode and making notes about them, and it's kind of cool
But they're
because
going
I
back
love
in
The
time,
Office.
right to the beginning.
They started with episode 1, and I'm probably on like 8 or 9. But
and are you rewatching with them? Do you
no,
watch the
because
episode first or not?
I've seen all the episodes so many times.
Oh, okay.
I know
It's
the
like
ones
me
you're
and
talking
Big
about.
Bang, huh?
Help, I Sexted My Boss is still one of my favorites, although I've taken a little break from that. It's a British thing where guys get drunk and give you life advice. I like that. Cabinet of Curiosities is really good. I listen to Horsemanship Radio. I love that one. And let's see, I gotta be in the mood for The Moth, but I'll listen to The Moth. But
you know what?
Probably the Von
The
Hassler
Moth?
Doctrine. The way I heard it, I listen on airplanes. So
I
I
listen
can cry
when I'm
in
cleaning
private.
paddocks.
Really?
Yeah, it makes cleaning paddocks seem better when you listen to The Moth, because usually the stories, they either make you laugh or cry, right? I mean, at The Moth, yeah. So
yeah, that's why I do it on a plane so nobody can see me. Oh, Chad just told me that he just texted me. Apparently he's listening. He said, what about Ben Shapiro? Have you ever listened to that guy?
No.
I swear it sounds like he's on Fast Forward. The guy talks just like this and he's so fast. I'm like, he's giving you all the news. I'm like, I can't even process what he's saying. Turn it off.
I still listen to, I do listen to the Jim Hill podcast. He's a guy, it's all about Disney. And this guy is a walking freaking encyclopedia of Disney from day one and has made his living being an encyclopedia of Disney. But I want to give a shout out to Lou Mangello, is one of the legends, and I think he might even be a Hall of Famer. He does the WDW radio podcast, and I know we have some listeners that listen to him. He is one of the biggest podcasters out there. He lives in Orlando. It's all about Disney World, and he's the longest running Disney podcast.
How do we get into the Disney Hall of Fame? I mean, the podcast Hall of Fame. What do we have to do?
I don't know. We're never going to be in it, I don't think. So he...
I'm going to make that a life goal.
There you go. Yeah, good luck with that. It's like getting in the Radio Hall of Fame. Good luck with that. So he did... I hadn't listened to his show in a long time, and I put it on the other day when I was sick because I was running out of podcasts on my player. And he had an amazing thing happen. Talk about the power of podcasting. You know, he has a lot of listeners, tens of thousands of listeners. And he lost his mom 2 weeks ago, and he came on, and he does a show live on Facebook and then puts it out. And while he was doing his live show the week after his mom died, a listener showed up and knocked on his door unexpectedly, and his wife answered, and she wanted to come in and talk to him. Imagine this happening to you. She wanted to come in and talk to him on the air because she knew he was live. And they let her in. Apparently, they at least knew who she was. They let her in, and she announced that, unbeknownst to him, they had done a fundraiser. He'd been doing fundraisers for years for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he's a big supporter of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Well, the listeners all got together when his mom died and put a fundraiser together in his mom's memory to raise money to bring a kid, $10,000 to bring a kid in the family to Disney for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. In a week, they raised $50,000. So he was like bawling on the air. He was like crying, had me crying, everybody was crying. But that just shows the power of, you know, when you do the right thing and you're good to your audience, what it can do. And I was just proud to hear that podcast listeners, like anytime we have done that, you know, look how they responded for the rescue you work for. We've raised thousands of dollars for them over the years. And it just shows the power of what we do, because it's a personal connection with the audience.
Well, boss. All right, moving past that. I don't need to crap. Come on. By the way, how to get into the Podcast Hall of Fame. There are public nominations, and every nominated person will be evaluated during a selection process made up of the existing Hall of Famers. The requirements were, have been involved with podcasting for at least 10 years. Check. Either as a podcaster or an active member of the podcast industry. Look at you. You can make it into the Hall of Fame.
I'm going to tell you why we will not make it into the Hall of Fame. It's run by Podcast Movement, which is the #1 podcasting conference, which
are you in bed with the wrong people?
I am in bed with PodFest, which is the second largest podcasting conference and have done their keynote speech for years. And they have had a battle for the last 6 years. So, no, we're never going to be known.
Okay, what's the other one? What's the one that does the Hall of Fame?
Podcast Movement does the Hall of Fame.
Okay, I'm going to start submitting things to them and make them my friends. So at least maybe I can get in.
There you go.
And I'll bring you along. I'll give you a mention.
Did you ever win a radio award?
I did.
Did you?
I did. I went to the AIR Awards, which is Achievement in Radio. My first ever. Oh, this is a good story. You'll love this. So this is before Jeff Foxworthy had his resurgence of fame. And I was young, 24, probably skinny, lovely 24-year-old.
Well dressed, too, I might add. I've seen some of those pictures.
Yeah, I used to have nice clothes and like nice hair. It was amazing. So it was the Achievement in Radio Awards, which is the AIR Awards. It was hosted by Jeff Foxworthy.
She pretty much looked like a pretty city slicker.
I did. I had heels on and everything. My poor husband doesn't know what he married. He married that girl, and then he has this girl now. So lucky boy. Yeah. So Jeff, it's time for Best Traffic Reporter. The category is Best Traffic Reporter.
They had one of those?
Yes. Yes. I mean, it was my first year too, so I didn't ever think I would win. So you don't prepare I didn't prepare a speech or anything. Like what? So they go up and announce it, and Jeff Foxworthy opens the envelope and he's like, and the best traffic reporter goes to, and my name at that time before I was married was Jamie Massey, Captain Herb Emery, and it's a tie with Jamie Massey.
You won with Captain Herb, your friend?
Captain Herb and I tied. God rest his soul. He was one of my favorite people. He's such a mentor. And so he went up and accepted the award. And he's, bless his heart, he's like a grizzled kind of like helicopter guy. You know, he's up there like in the chopper, like, now we're hovering. You know, that was him. And then I come up there. And I had bought this like super smoking outfit, and I get up there in my heels and I strut across the stage and I take no, I did not fall. And I take my award and I do my little brief thank you. And I walk down and Jeff Foxworthy comes out there and he picks up the mic and he goes, I don't know about y'all. That ain't no tie.
And Jeff Foxworthy can get away with that.
I credit Jeff Foxworthy for starting my career because literally 5 minutes after they finished the awards, Star 94 came up and hired me to be on their morning show. And I was like, Jeff Foxworthy gave me my radio career. I was a lowly traffic reporter until he basically misogynized me on stage.
But it was Jeff Foxworthy. It's
me
perfect.
too, but it's Jeff Foxworthy. Oh my God.
Does he have horses? We need to get him on the show.
He does not have horses, but he and I were, because he lives in Atlanta and he did a lot of radio stuff. And this is before blue collar comedy and the kindergarten show.
Before he made bazillions of dollars.
Well, he had already done You Might Be a Redneck. So he came on the show all the time and would do the redneck stuff. And he and I love him. I will love him forever. He's one of my favorite celebrities.
Can you get him on for Radiothon? We need to get him on Radiothon. That'd be fun.
Oh my God.
Because all bets are off at Radiothon. We don't have to be horse people. We can get
That's true. Yeah, I'll send him an email. I'll text him. You know what? I'm going to text him and the Queen and see who answers first.
Yes, you get an answer from. Well, there's a little memory lane there for our podcast, International Podcast Day.
I need to be in the Hall of Fame. Dang it.
Get your ads in. Last chance to get your ads in for the $500 worth of prizes on Friday's show. So get your ads into Jennifer at horseradionetwork.com. If you hang around, if you're an auditor for the post show, we are going to talk a little bit about TV today and movies because I need something to watch in my 2 weeks recuperating here after my surgery next week.
Can I just say,
talk about TV.
Can I just say that for those of you who have children, the show I'm Sorry, my husband actually believes that there's a very big parallel between me and the lady on the show. We love it. It's called I'm Sorry. It's on Netflix, and it is fantastic.
All right.
I've been wanting to mention it.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, everybody. Well, tomorrow is the driving show with Dr. Wendy. So Dr. Wendy and Jennifer helped out. They have a terrific show. I edited that. So a lot to learn there. A lot of health stuff in that show, as usual with Dr. Wendy as well. And Dr. Wendy's going to be helping to fill in. So thanks, Dr. Wendy. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. See ya.
All right, Spay Neuter Geld.
There it is.
You have one job. Now you're not getting in the Hall of Fame.
Politics are keeping us out of that.